The unbelievable, but true story of angels. We witness and hear stories from people who survived near-death experiences, people who were cured from a terminally ill diagnosis, or even people who were saved from an accident. As we are experiencing different events every day, chances are that some will encounter incidents that are so rare that seem to defy rational and scientific explanations. Year 1993, I do believe my guardian angel has protected me when I was a little girl. Looking back now as an adult, it was one of the incomprehensible experiences I've ever had. I still remember the feeling of excitement while playing outside with my brother Ezekiel and our neighbor Jera. Some of the fun games we usually played were Langit Lupa, running for an elevated base, and Tagu Tagwan, hide and seek. One ordinary afternoon, while waiting for my playmates, I noticed a beautiful pink flower. The thought of giving it to Mama made me pick it up. However, my little hands could not detach it from the stem, so I plucked the flower with all my might, lost my balance, and fell off a cliff full of rusty galvanized iron sheets or gi sheets with its protruding sharp edges that can cause serious cutting injuries or completely sever most types of lifelines. I have no vivid memory after that incident, but I could hear a great commotion coming from people above the cliff. To cut the story short, my mother told me that my guardian angel saved me that day, by moving my tiny body away from danger and miraculously laid me down. The impact of the fall did not cause me harm. No pains, cuts, bruises, scrapes, scratches, punctured skin, and even an injury. Psalm 91:11 For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways.
Year 1998, another real-life story I can share is about a missionary who gave his testimony in church. While he was serving at a small field hospital in Africa, every 2 weeks he traveled by bicycle through the jungle to a nearby city for supplies. This was a journey of 2 days and required camping overnight at the halfway point. On one of these journeys, he arrived in the city where he planned to collect money from a bank, purchase medicine and supplies, and then begin his 2-day journey back to the field hospital. Upon arrival in the city, he observed 2 men fighting, one of whom had been seriously injured. He treated him for his injuries and at the same time witnessed to him about God. He then traveled 2 days, camping overnight, and arrived home without an incident. 2 weeks later he repeated his journey. Upon arriving in the city, he was approached by a young man he had treated. He told him that he and his friends had known that he carried money and medicines. So they followed him into the jungle, knowing that he would camp overnight. They planned to kill him and take his money and medications, but just as they were about to move into his camp, they saw that he was surrounded by 26 armed guards. The missionary laughed and said that he was certainly all alone out in that jungle campsite. The young man pressed the point and said, "No sir, I was not the only person to see the guards. My 5 friends also saw them, and we all counted them. It was because of those guards that we were afraid and left you alone." At this point, one of the men inside the church stood up and interrupted the missionary and asked if he could tell him the exact day that incident happened. The missionary told the congregation the date and the man who interrupted told him this story: "On the night of your incident in Africa, it was morning here and I was preparing to go and play golf. I was about to putt when I felt the urge to pray for you. In fact, the urging of the Lord was so strong I called men in this church to meet with me to pray for you. Would all of those men who met with me on that day stand up?" The men who had met together that day stood up. The missionary wasn't concerned with who they were, he was too busy counting how many men stood up. They were 26. Angels are the answer to the unexplainable blessings we experience in life. They are not composed of physical matter but are spirit beings created by God, read Hebrews 1:14. They can resemble human form when God permits our wills it, read Genesis 19. If ever that you believe in God, the afterlife, heaven or hell, then you might believe in angels as well. Faith is believing in the unknown. Even though they are not visible with the naked eye, we can confirm that they exist by reading the Bible through faith and experiences.